that little bit of courage to face that fear. That's all you need, because we all have fear. Every day you have to pay the toll. Every day you have to pay the toll, because if you don't, your brain is wired to then go down that rabbit hole.
You were bold enough to keep opening the doors, to keep going where those breadcrumbs were leading you.
Right.
And not many people can do that. Welcome to the High Vibe Life podcast, where we are obsessed with all things manifestation, neuroscience, personal growth, and quite simply, living a life beyond our wildest dreams. I'm Moira Casava, author, speaker, podcaster, manifestation, and mindset master. Since getting sober 25 years ago, I've helped tens of thousands of women break through and achieve massive levels of wealth, joy, and freedom. Now it's your turn. Let's dig in. Welcome back to the High Vibe Life podcast with me, Moira Casava. And today you're in for a treat. I've got my friend David Atkins in the house.
Hello. What's up? Let's go.
I'm so excited. David, you're like one of the only people that's been here twice.
Yes.
You've been on the show twice. You're an old friend, a dear friend, somebody I love so much, somebody I connected with on like a soul level years ago.
I remember.
For my audience that may not know you, I think a lot of them probably do know you, but we're here to talk about a big launch for you today. Your second book. Which is coming. So we're going to dig into that. But before we do that, will you kind of just share who David Atkins is and your story and kind of how you ended up doing what you're doing in the world today and what that is?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So my background, I'm a retired New York State Police captain. Was a New York State trooper for 22 years. When I retired as a captain, I ran all state police operations for the entire county of Westchester County. And we handled about 400,000 to 500,000 911 calls a year. So it was a pretty busy county. When I retired, I was a first responder on 9/11 down at Ground Zero. So a lot of stories and been through a lot with that. But parallel to that, the last 10 years of my career, or really it was more like 12 years of my career, I built a big business with our direct sales company with Beachbody and got myself healthy and fit. And it didn't know it started. I just want to get in shape doing P90X. And I'm not doing that network marketing stuff, but it kind of plays into my book, which we'll get into, but making that decision. And then, then next thing you know, there was a business opportunity, because I think it's important for me to share, like I was 6 figures in debt at the time. We make more, we spend more. And me being a state trooper, and my wife was a school teacher, my wife, Kristen, making good money, but we were 6 figures in debt from like just poor choices. And once we went in all to this business, which everybody said wasn't going to work, we built that big business, and it's all those things and which I talk about. A lot of the important decisions you make, you won't have support. You are lonely along the way, but made that decision. And for me, I like to say, God revealed to me a gift I didn't know I had, which was speaking, when the company started asking me to speak at events, and it just came natural to me. And then it led to a pivotal point of people saying you should be a speaker or a keynote motivational speaker. And I'm like, how do I do that? Like, I'm a captain, I run this county, I have this business, I'm a dad of 3 daughters, and that's super important to me. And I took that leap of faith and made the decision in 2021 to retire. And now here I am, fast forward, my second book, speaking to thousands of people all over the country. And I feel like, state police was my career, which I love, but now I'm like in my calling in a way. Like I feel my biggest purpose now. And I just know from the tears and the laughs in the audience that I just love it. And then this book came to me, which I'll pause for a second, but it came to me naturally on stage because my people were recognizing something that I was saying. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm sharing this, and this has been the story of my life,
Yeah. Gosh, I love that. I always say, listen to the whisper, but really what I hear you saying too is like, there's like a trail of breadcrumbs so often, right? It's like, we kind of go into a door, like you said, with Beachbody, you're like, well, I just need to get fit, right? I need to get healthy. And it leads to another door, and it leads to another door. And you were bold enough to keep opening the doors, to keep going where those breadcrumbs were leading you.
Right.
And not many people can do that. So if you go back even to then, where you probably built some confidence just from getting healthy would be my guess, right? Because
Yep,
it's like
yep.
you need something inside of you to have just a little bit of confidence to go like, okay, I'm going to make this next decision.
Yeah.
So what did that look like back then? Because that's a huge
Yeah.
leap of faith, right? To go
It
from
is.
being a police officer to
Yep.
an entrepreneur running an online business, direct sales business. I mean,
Yep.
how did you do that
It's
back then?
it's a story, and when I'm on stage more, this is exactly what I say, and I'll go through it. When I share that my wife, Chris, and I were struggling. Like, we were living paycheck to paycheck. We were 6 figures in debt. We would argue over things like the grocery bills. It was not a good place. And I had a successful career at the state police, and I realized like my marriage is not going so well. And if this continues, like, we're going to probably end up in a divorce. And I said, I need to sit her down. Like, not when my kids are running around in the kitchen, like 9:30 at night, they're asleep. And I sat her down with all the fear of what happens if she doesn't hear me out, to say like, this, we need to do something. Like, where she was struggling to lose the baby weight. We were stressed out all the time. Like, I like to say, kids were getting the rest of us, not the best of us.
Yes.
And I remember saying like, babe, like, we need to change. And she heard me out and agreed. And the first thing we said, let's start taking care of our physical health.
Yep.
And because if we do that, it will improve. And that one decision to talk to my wife led us to saying, all right, let's do P90X. And then that one decision led to the business that came to us. Like, when we said, everybody's like, don't do it, it's not going to work. But we were 6 figures in debt. And I'm like, you know what, I got to try this out.
Yeah.
And then that one decision, and it kept going from there to the business to speaking. And Maura, I can say, and what I say on stage, I would not be on this podcast with you right now if I didn't make the one decision to talk to my wife back in 2010. And it's not a matter of I need to make the one decision for my health and it continues to be a health journey. No, in my life, the pressing thing in my life, the whisper that I had was my marriage was paramount and I need to talk to my wife. And that one decision is what led to every other session of my life and to why I'm here today.
Yes, 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 yes. And wouldn't you say that the biggest decisions come out of the biggest pain, like the deepest pain, right? It's like, I just want to say to anybody listening, if you're listening to this and you're in a dark place and you're in a low place, it's like, gosh, that is such a gift, because it's only from that place that you have it, you find it within you to make those big decisions, those radical outside the box decisions that you're not going to make if things are comfortable, if the marriage is okay, if you're not in debt, you never would have done that, right?
No.
And so that dark place is such a gift. So talk to me about this. You make that decision. Would you say it gets easier as you go on making those decisions, trying to kind of constantly reinvent yourself, or going where you're called, going where those breadcrumbs are? Do you build some confidence from your past decisions, or is it just as hard every time?
No. So there's two things I say to that. I think that you will not be given more than you can handle, right? It's even, I think, a quote in the Bible. And so I feel like the decisions that I made as I went on became bigger decisions, right? Leaving the state police, trying to break in as a speaker, writing a book, they became bigger. But at the same time, I was able to lean on, principles over emotions, which is a chapter in my book. Principle says that if I'm consistent and disciplined and I lean into something, this calling, like, it's going to work out. It's tried and true. Don't make it on the emotion of fear, right? Make it on the principle of, you know what you should be doing. So I felt like the decisions I made were bigger, but I was able to lean back and go and use what I'd done in the past to propel me to go forward, right? Because in the beginning, it was just, I need to have a conversation with my wife. It was very hard, but it was even not harder, but more walking away from a career that I was ready to get promoted, that 99% of the world, my bosses, my friends, my family were like, don't do it. Like, I had to follow my own whisper and follow my own gut, going, I will regret if I don't try to take this gift that I feel I have to go and inspire more people. So that was a harder decision than saying, let me talk to my wife tonight, even though that was important, just a higher way for a bigger thing. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, my whole life story, like, is identical with, like, the parents saying, like, you're, I mean, people will be like, you're stupid. Like, this isn't even smart. I mean, you've got people saying that to you that love you. And you're like, oh my gosh, my head's telling me the same thing, but my heart is telling me something different. Right.
Right.
So Let me ask you this question, because I certainly can feel like I'm even faced with this today with some areas of my life. Like, I'm like, okay, I know this is the direction.
Right.
But good gosh, that looks like a mountain. Like, where do I begin? Where do I start? Like, when you're thinking about writing a book, you know, you don't know how to write a book. Like, how do you even start? How do you even start when you're like, I should be a motivational speaker? Like, how do you keep that going just left to really your own devices, right?
Yeah, no, it is. I think number one is I've learned to never take criticism or feedback from somebody less successful than me or hasn't done what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
So, this is the personal growth journey. So I think when it came to writing a book, the people that I follow, whether on social media or I have friendships with or my small circle now, they're people that are either at a higher level or I'm going there. So it makes me realize it's not possible, it's past possible. And that's the inspiration to keep going. And I think often people are like, but David, I don't have that circle. Well, for me, my mentors were the authors of the books that I read.
Yeah.
So I just made sure, like, Maura, I know right now, if I spoke to you when I said, Maura, I'm thinking about retiring at 22 years to be a speaker, you would say, go for it.
Yes.
Like, I just know. But the general 98% of society that just is going through the motions are going to say no. But you know what? They've never done it. When I spoke to other speakers at the higher level, you go for it. You know what I'm saying? When it came to writing my second book, it was, this is my idea. Speak to some of the other speakers. David, absolutely. When some people may say another, but so it's a matter of, to your point, it's be careful who you listen to.
Yes.
Be careful who you try to follow and emulate. And my rule of thumb is, unless they did it before or they're more successful than you, then don't entertain that negative feedback or criticism.
Yes. So good. And be intentional, right? I actually had this experience literally this morning. So I'm speaking from real life, like kind of left like at home. I'm thinking thoughts in my head. I'm kind of going to like not a great place. And it's like, I can even get there, you know? And I was like, I need to reach out to some people. And it's like, boom, 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 like a few voice messages, they're messaging me back. And it's like, boom, right back on track.
Instantaneous.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like but you have to put the work into like reaching out to those people.
Yes.
And then ironically, you know, one of them messages me back and says like, I'm thinking about doing this crazy thing. And I'm like, you got to do this. You know? So you got to be intentional about seeking out every day. Every day
you have to pay the toll. Every day you have to pay the toll. Because if you don't, your brain is wired to then go down that rabbit hole and you'll start, you know, it's meant, the flight or flight, right, is really meant for like you're in a life and death situation. But we take the smallest things and we make it out to that in our mind. So I feel like every day, like my morning routine from practicing gratitude, things like you, more like practicing gratitude and reading personal development and connecting with high achievers is super important. You know, like here's an example. Speaking events and conferences slow down in the summertime. So I had a very busy beginning of the year. I have a busy September, October. Summer's like a little down. And I started having that negative, like, oh my God, what's going on? I have no bookings. You know, I don't have a booking after next week. And then I connected with somebody that's speaking like 25 times a month, multiple best-selling. He's like, David, no, it's totally normal. Like this is the summer. I know you know this already, but remember, it kind of goes with school calendar. They don't do a lot of events. They want butts and seats in the summer, a lot of corporate. And I'm like, whew, thank you. You know, so like, but I deal with it every single day. We all have that fear, but you know what? It takes one word to face that fear every day. It's just have a little bit of courage.
Yes.
That's it. That little bit of courage to face that fear. That's all you need, because we all have fear. No matter how much I speak, even before I get on stage, I still have fear. It's a normal thing we all deal with, right? But that's like Brendan Bouchard, he calls it the performance edge. I'm sure you've heard him say that. Like, or the whisper, like you are where you're supposed to be when you have that uncomfortable feeling. But your network is your net worth. You know, and that's you got to connect with those people to kind of right that ship.
Yes,
you know?
right the ship every single day. I think you can get better at it yourself, but like you're never gonna be able to write. Yeah, you're never gonna be able to write your own ship every day of the week ever.
No way.
No matter how good you get. So let's talk about that for a second. What do you have like a daily routine, daily process that you kind of have dialed in? I know you're on the road a lot, you're home. Like, what does that look like for you?
So whether I'm on the road or at home, every morning, the first 45 minutes is personal development. And for me, I'll fully say it's gratitude. I pray every single morning. I read what the gospel is for the day, and then I meditate. So it starts off like gratitude. Oh, and I read like 10 minutes of personal development. I do my prayers. I read the gospel of the day from my faith as a Catholic.
Yeah.
And then I go into meditation for 10 minutes more. That's 45 to 50 minutes. And it's perfect because then by like then my pre-workout's kind of kicked in, right? So like my first 45 minutes to an hour sometimes is mental mindset work only.
Wow.
And then I do my workout. And my routine starts the night before. Like my phone, even currently right now, all of my banners are off, notifications are off. I don't see banners, like it's off. And the night before, my phone goes on do not disturb. And when I wake up in the morning, and sometimes you'll find yourself go off, but I try not to look at my inbox, check my messages, do any of that until I finish my first hour. And then my workout for another hour. Like that is routine. I do it when I travel.
Yeah.
I pack the same stuff. It is a structure. My hooded sweatshirt goes on. I pull the hood up over my head and there's a spot in my house I sit my butt down in and that's where I do my work.
I love it. Like a good New Yorker in the hoodie.
Right. Yes. It's like I need to feel warm. The house is quiet and that's where I do it. But every day.
Every day. I love that. And I love that, for anybody listening that travels a lot, I feel like the routines that carry over from home to travel are what keep me grounded and allow me to kind of come in and out and in and out and in and out and travel as much as we do. Well, let's talk about this book. I want to know all about it. I mean, you sent me some stuff and I told you right before we hit record on the podcast. I mean, the second I saw it, David, I was like, this is it. Like, this is everything. This is the message. This is so your message because I know your life. Yeah. And it just, everything everyone is looking for comes from this, I believe. So can we like deep dive into how you talk about this?
No, absolutely. So like I said, at first my audience started recognizing when I was saying make that one decision. And then I realized like, my goodness, like looking back at my life, it's always been a decision I made that's left to the next thing. And whether you're a believer of faith in God, universe, whatever it is, I'm a big believer. Life will tell you and reveal to you what to do next if you make the one decision. So I said, okay, I think I may be on to my second book. So I literally took a piece of paper out, and this is kind of how the book structure came about, is I started brain dumping all of the things that were coming to my mind with the one decision away philosophy. And I said, all right, I had all these bubbles. I'm like, all right, these would be great chapters. And I noticed two distinct parts. I said, my goodness, half these chapters are all of the obstacles that you may face trying to make that decision, whether it's comparison, whether it's fear, whether there's just a whole bunch of them. And then the other half were like, but these are the tools that I apply to make the one decisions so I can move myself forward, whether an example is, making it bigger than you or having the why to drive you. So then I said, wow, I have two distinct parts. And then I put the book together and then I did some research. Like I did research on who else has applied it to them. And I noticed whether it was Walt Disney or J.K. Rowling from, wrote unbelievable books, Harry Potter, or Michael Jordan, who, the one decision away philosophy, he got cut from his varsity basketball team, but he made the one decision to keep going. And then that led to Chapel Hill. And then that led to the NBA. Or Jim Carrey, I wrote that check out for I think it was $3 million in the book. And he's like, I'm going to do it, but I'm going to keep acting. He made the one decision. I'm like, these people made that one decision in that minuscule moment. And then their life revealed to them bigger things. Right. And then in terms of so often in life, I realize it's that, people wait for the motivation to start, but you need to start. You have the motivation, right? And Tony Robbins always says, number one source of fulfillment is progress. And I said, wow, it's amazing. Like when I make this one decision each day, I feel a sense of progress. And when I speak, I do this like audit. I go, by a show of hands, how many people, like you have a Saturday or Sunday that's going on, you have a bunch of errands you need to run, and you just get the smallest things done, but you're crossing them off and you feel that sense of accomplishment and everybody's hands go up. I say, well, that's kind of the one decision away philosophy, because that's the ventral tegmental area of your brain that releases dopamine. So by making the one decision, whatever it is for you today, you'll get propelled forward to make the next one decision. So I looked at the book more, and it was just a matter of, these are the obstacles you're going to face, and one I love talking about is it's lonely along the way, because it's a lonely process if you try to level up your life. And then the second half is, this is the tools that you can do it. And then at the end of every chapter, I give like 3 key takeaways and actionable exercises so they can recap, which I didn't do in my last book, but this came to me on this book. So I'm giving them like call to action, how to apply this philosophy and how to take it. And then I did research, and then I recognized celebrities that applied to it. And it just all came together, and it just made sense because it's been my life journey.
Oh, so good. I mean, I feel like this book has really been co-created, like through you and by you, right? It's like, it's a co-creation, and so beautiful. I love the work. Like I always say, like, you know, if you're reading a book that doesn't have that many call to actions or exercises, like you're only going to get that far. Like you need to do the actual work. And that is so good. Like, oh my gosh, talking about the obstacles, but then what you did to overcome those obstacles in order to make that one decision. I mean, that's where everybody's getting stuck. Tony Robbins says our destiny is shaped in our moments of decision. When I read that quote, like probably 12 years ago, it was like God spoke, you know, I was like, oh my gosh, but your destiny is shaped in your moments of decision.
So true.
Good or bad, right? Good or bad. I mean, we can choose to pick up the drug. We can choose to cheat. We can choose to, you know, write the book. We can choose to quit the job. We can choose. It's the destiny being shaped in those moments of decision that is so paramount.
Right. And no decision is a decision.
Right. Yes. Can you talk about that? Because amen, brother. Talk about that.
No, because I think when he says destiny, like I think about if you don't make a decision, then you're deciding not to move forward. And not to take ownership. And that, I think, is what the vast majority of the world lives in. They go through the motions each day. They're counting down the days to the weekend, and they're just going through the flow in life. They're accepting their life for what it is instead of leading it to where they want to go. And they're not taking that ownership and not making that decision. And you know what? It doesn't matter how old you are. If you have breath, you have fresh air, you have a heartbeat, it's not too late, you know? And I think so often people don't make a decision, but that is the decision. And it kind of drives home the point with what Tony Robbins said, you know, it's the destiny is in the decision, because you also won't have the destiny if you don't make the decision.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that, because really what you're talking a lot about is living an intentional life, right? Like living intentionally. So I think my experience has been a lot of people don't take the time out. Like I always say, you gotta step out of your life to work on your life, to step back into your life, to move forward. So,
slow down and speed up.
Yes. So talk to me about that. How do you coach people to really go, like, what are some of those processes, right? To get clear on what that decision is. Because there's probably people listening that are like, I'm ready to make the decision, but I have no idea what it is. How do you help people get clear on what that is?
So if once you have that vision and you figure out the vision, and more, this is a statement you used, you know, before, if you have all the money and time in the world, what would your life look like, right? So for me, like, here's an example. When it came to writing the book, and I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to write the book? I'm like, all right, this is when I want to have it done, written by. And I reverse engineered, what do I need to do the end of the month? What do I need to do each week? What do I need to do each day? And my each day decision was try to get one chapter done every 1 to 2 days. So now I knew to reach my bigger goal, I need to write 1 to 2 chapters in the next 1 or 2 days. So I was able to breadcrumb it down, reverse engineering what I needed to do. And that's like a goal, like when it comes to writing a book. But your everyday life,
reverse engineering is like my love language.
Right, reverse, but it works. Or it works. But then in like your everyday life, it's what do I need to do today so I'm a better version of myself than yesterday?
Yeah.
Right? So every day, what is the intentionality? So for me, doing my morning routine for the hour mentally, then exercising, I know right away I'm working on being better than I am today. And the reading is going to help me grow and be better. Then it's what do I need to do to impact the world in a more positive way, you know? And then the minutia of like diving in the speaking work. And a lot of the work is the dark work. It's when nobody's watching, but you can't just go through the motions. It's being intentional on the work. And it's different for everybody. I really have to stress that for somebody, it may be your marriage right now is that pressing thing, because I'm a big believer. Everything is in synergy. What good is it if I'm a public success and a private failure?
Right.
Like what good is it if I'm killing the game as a speaker, but my home life is a mess?
Right.
So for somebody you listening, it may be like my marriage is not out well, well, then you need to sit down and that's what you need to focus on. Therapy every day, having open communication, because if you fix that, then it will positively impact the other areas of your life. So like on the minor scale, it's what is you have to deal with in your life right now. But if you set a goal like writing a book, then the reverse engineering comes in of what activities do I need to do daily, weekly, monthly, yearly to hit that banner goal.
Yeah,
right?
I love that. And I think, we keep going back to Tony Robbins. Tony always says, take action in the moment of inspiration, which I'm always like, I'm often, the biggest decisions I've made are taking action in the moments of desperation, right? Like rock bottom. And so he talks about taking an action that commits you to the end goal. So for a lot of the listeners, like what David's saying too, is this decision that kind of locks you in, right? Like I know you hired people to help you do things, right? It's like, you're not just going to try to find the motivation to figure out how to be a keynote speaker every day. You're like, I'm going to lock myself into this decision and put pieces in place that kind of make me force my hand at this path. I know for me, if I want to work on my marriage, if my marriage is hard, it's not enough for me to make the decision to just work on my marriage. It's like, I got to call the therapist and book the appointment. That's going to commit me to the end goal. It's going to force my hand to do the work. So talk about that a little bit. Like, what did you do in those moments that kind of constructed your life in a way where you're like, all right, now I'm locked in. I can't back out now. Because I'm guessing all of those big decisions, you put some of those major keys into place.
Oh, absolutely. Like from when it was speaking, number one is I think that the best thing you can invest in is yourself. So for me, when I decided to be a speaker, I was investing in the coaching for that. When I was growing as a speaker, working with people like one-on-one, who's become a personal friend of mine, like Anthony Trucks. And like, I'm constantly surrounding myself with people that are going to stretch me, people that I can text and lean on. So when I'm like at this pivotal point, I can move forward, because one of my chapters is you cannot do it alone.
Yes.
And I think so often, and I talk about early on in my Beachbody business, I did it all. I didn't need an assistant, but you know what? If it wasn't for my assistant back then, who I still have now, Tim is part of my team, I wouldn't be here today. So stop trying to do it alone.
Yeah.
And I also talk about not just alone physically, but spiritually, whatever you believe in, because I'm a big believer that if you're willing to meet, for me, God halfway and surrender the outcome, it gives me peace. And I talk about like, all right, I did all the work. I'm connecting with the right people. I need to surrender to whatever you believe in and know it's going to come back to me. And that gives me a sense of peace, because I struggle at times going, I gotta do more. I got to do more. No, you did everything. You need to let go. Right. So for me, it's investing in myself, realizing, and I'm looking down at the chapter in my book, chapter 23, you cannot do it alone. That helps you make the one decision, because you need people in your corner, whether physically or spiritually. And I think too often people try to hold on and think they need to do it by themselves.
Yeah. I think that's why so many people actually succeed in direct sales, because you're automatically put in circles and groups and teams with people that are, there's hundreds of people going towards the same goal you are. And so you're in conversations all day with these people. You're all paddling in the same direction. But then I know my experience is when I pivoted out of direct sales to do something else, I'm like, whoa, I'm in the boat alone. Like, this is hard. So I also love what you just said about God, though, because I know for you, and I know for me, I would guess for you too, is that the calling is bigger than you. It's not just an ego calling that you're saying, hey, I want to be on stages for me. It's more that there's a God calling on your life for your message to impact others. Will you talk to me about that and how much that drives you?
No, it's huge. So as for me, I'm Catholic, and going to church on Sunday. I've gotten a lot more, how can I say it? I've gotten much close. I went to private Catholic school my whole life, right? I've always went to church on Sundays. Like, it's been me. But I would say in the last 2 years, 3 years, I've gotten closer to my faith than ever, because I feel like, to your original question, these changes of whether it's losing a big business, right? Or going after being a speaker where the competition is celebrities and all these people. But I feel like something that God, your gift will make room for you. Reading and knowing that quote in the Bible, like, it is the most important thing right now, because it gives me a sense of peace and I know I'm in the right place and I'm not alone. and to
Yes.
surrender. So for me, going to church on Sunday, praying every morning, it grounds me. And when I feel like I'm doubting or I'm struggling, I feel like, no, you're okay. This all happened for a reason. You're doing this. The testimonials, like when I speak and the stuff that comes back, and it's not, I want to stay humble, but it realigns me knowing I am exactly where I need to be. Like there was an event recently, a lady was like 4 people back. I see her crying like in line, the book signing line. I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen here?
Yeah.
And she came up to me and she's trembling and she's like, David, I feel like God came through your lips to my ears. And I say that in a humble way, but that gave me chills.
Yeah.
And I said, I needed to hear that more than you.
Yeah.
Because it made me realize like I am in the right place. And when I struggle, I need my faith. I need that grounding to know that it's bigger than me and he's going to make sure everything works out okay.
Absolutely. Oh, so good, David. And it's like, it's the best one in your corner, right? It's like you can call your friends and they can like rah, get you back in the game. But for me, when I go to church every Sunday, I always have this vision of like, I feel like I'm in the boxing ring out there in the world, and I'm like fighting. And I feel like when I go to church, it's just me going back into the corner and God's like, patting my head, squirting water in my mouth and like drying me off. And he's like, you got this, kid. Like, this is your purpose. This is your reason. Like, get back out there. I'm like, okay, I got it, and I'm like rested, recovered, filled back up. And then I go back out. And not that it's a fight that out there, what I'm doing, but it's like, you're just out there in the real world. And if I didn't go in the corner and get filled up every Sunday, I wouldn't be able to keep doing what I'm doing.
Absolutely. It's a non-negotiable. And I'll tell you, for me, watching a little bit off on a tangent, but I watched The Chosen. I don't know if you've heard about that. The Chosen. And it just made me like, but like I was saying to Kristen, then she started watching. I'm like, but you don't understand. It makes it real. Like this happened. Like we just got a new pope, right? We got a new pope. But you connect. Literally, you connect him back to the first pope, Peter, which was Simon Peter, one of the apostles. Like, this isn't some like made up story. Like, this is connected. And then I read a quote, something like 40 different authors over 100 countries. No, 100 authors over 40 different countries. Some died before others were alive and others were born before others died. Or the people that wrote the Bible. How is it not true? And then the connection to the Pope. And it's, when I really think about it, for me, it's like, poof, like this happened. All of this happened. This is definitely, so it's just reassurance on those days that I struggle. And I talk about it in my book. And I have and that's the other thing. I've had more confidence to share it, even on state. Even I put up a quote, God's gift to us is potential and our gift back is what we do with it.
Yes.
And I put that up there. And I've had some people more going, for corporate, you're gonna put that up there. But that's me. That's my brand. Like you don't need, I will say you can believe in something else, but this is me. But let me tell you, the people that have come up to me and were like, thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much. So now I feel like, you know what? I'm going to talk about what I believe in the book on stage because he's going to make sure that it works out in the end anyway.
Absolutely.
Who's more important than trying to appeal to a brand? No, I'm going to do what I believe in because he's helping me get through my own life. So I need to talk about it, So it's just something that I've gotten much as I get older. I think as we get older and we get wiser, right? We start seeing things through a different light and looking at life differently. And for me, I would not be right here if it wasn't for him and this gift that I have in speaking and writing, like all of it. So I have no problem sharing it.
Yeah. Oh, so good. So good. I love it so much. Yep. David, where can we get our hands on this book? Tell me the deal. I'm hoping if it all goes according to our plans, this podcast is going to drop literally the day before your book launch. So give me the date. What date is the book launching?
So the One Decision Away philosophy, July 15th is the launch date. And from the 15th to the 20th, if you go to my website, so the plan is you go to davidatkinsspeaks.com. There'll be a link right there for book. And you go on there. If you order the book between the 15th or the 20th, like that 5-day window, for every book you order, you're going to be entered in a raffle from multiple, like whether it's $100 Amazon gift cards. We have a walking pad. We're going to have a sport nutrition bundle. There's going to be all these prizes that you're going to be entered in, as well as you're automatically going to get like a PDF action workbook just for ordering. So you're going to go to my website. You're going to order the book. It's going to take you to Amazon. Then you're going to come back unpack and fill the form out, easy peasy, and then you're going to get entered to win. So 15th to the 20th of July is the big launch to be entered to win a lot of fun prizes.
That's amazing. I love prizes, but you heard me earlier. I also love an actionable workbook.
Yes.
So if I'm getting a workbook,
everybody gets that. Everybody's going to get something. Everybody's going to get something.
That is amazing. Well, talk to me about this just in case. You never know whose ears are on this podcast. How do people find out about booking you to speak?
Yeah, so right on the same website. So davidatkinsspeaks.com is now my home base for speaking. My book will be on there. And if you follow me, you'll find me on Instagram and LinkedIn and, all those places. But yes, davidatkinsspeaks.com is my direct website.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yes.
And we're going to link everything in the show notes, or if you're watching on YouTube, we'll link it in the notes below.
Yep.
So we'll link your website, Instagram, LinkedIn, all of that stuff, exactly where to find the book. Oh my gosh, David, I cannot wait to get my hands on this book. I know Brian's excited to read it. The world is going to just revel in it. I mean, this philosophy, and I love that you called it a philosophy, right? It's a way of life. It's a way of living that changes everything if you lean into this. So I am just so freaking excited for you. I'm so excited for this impact.
No, thank you. I do call it a state of being. And I defined it as it's a choice made. I'll end with this. My definition to it, it's a choice made in a present moment backed by courage and faith to move you one step closer to your goals. And that's the definition of the one decision away philosophy.
Okay. Can you say that one more time for me?
It's a choice made in the present moment, backed by courage and faith to move you one step closer to your goals.
Oh my gosh. That is so dang good. Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Well, David, thank you for being a
so
repeat customer on the podcast.
Yes.
You can come back anytime you want.
Thank you so much. You're the best. I love you. Thank you so much, Moira.
Love you too, David. Thank you. Everybody, go ahead and share this episode with your friends. Share it. Go obviously to the website, grab the book, grab the workbook, all the things. Tag David, tag me. We'd love to hear back from you after you've heard this episode. And guys, just pay this gift forward, buy a book for a friend, anything. This philosophy of one decision at a time, it's life-changing. So David, thanks again. And we will see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.